Hello, and welcome to another riveting, spellbinding, awe-inspiring edition of CU Sports Mag. I'm Steve Nelson. Now, you've seen her countless times on segments like Buff Banter and Double Team, but for the first time ever, the electric Christine Lambert is joining me on the Sports Mag desk.
Thank you, Steve. I wanted to wait to anchor with someone as mind-blowingly smart and irresistibly handsome as you. Wait a second, I definitely took that out of the teleprompter. Anyways, what is actually irresistible is this recap from the game last week.
In the first quarter of the game between CU and number 4 ranked Michigan last Saturday, the Colorado Buffaloes got off to a great start with a 14-point lead. They came out ready to fight, and the Wolverines were not expecting that. With the fast-paced offense that the team has been executing every game, that made Michigan have to fight for it. Eventually, due to many injuries and miscues, Michigan caught up and rallied to beat the Buffs. The turning point occurred during the second quarter when CU led 21-7, and CU made a second special teams miscue that allowed Michigan to gain momentum for the rest of the game with a touchdown. Quarterback Sefo Liufau got injured in the second half, and Michigan quickly responded and brought home the win with a score of 45-28.
Head coach Mike MacIntyre addressed the media on Tuesday and mentioned many things the team needs to do to improve from last week's game. He focused on how he believes both the Ducks and the Buffs defense will be ready to fight and how Steven Montez has been playing during practice.
In the third quarter, fourth quarter, we didn't play as well as we would like, and Michigan had a little bit to do with that, some of the things they were doing, but I thought that, it is hard to get thrown in there in that situation at that time, but I think Steven has a lot of moxie to him. He has some confidence. I think that he'll bounce back from that. Well, they practice against each other the same way, high speed, all that type of thing. So, they have their signals down, they have their communication down. There probably won't be as many busts as you see sometimes with teams that don't do that, especially defensively. And then, offensively, they're able to play at a fast pace and get the ball snapped and get lined up quick. I would think both of our teams defensively won't really have a problem with the speed of the game. Now it's just going to be who executes the best.
The Buffs are off to a good start this season, but kicker Diego Gonzalez and linebacker Derek McCartney will sit out for the rest of the season due to injuries. Starting quarterback Sefo Liufau's sprained ankle has head coach Mike MacIntyre and the rest of the team wondering whether he'll be good enough to play on Saturday or not. Meanwhile, center Alex Kelly and receiver Shea Fields are managing injuries of their own, appearing in questionable health at the last two games.
The football team kicks off the Pac-12 play this Saturday as they head to Eugene to face the unranked Oregon Ducks. CU has played the Ducks 5 times since joining the Pac-12 and unfortunately have lost all 5 times. We have the 3 keys to hopefully see a Buffaloes victory in Eugene. Number 1, Steven Montez needs to step up. He's starting his first CU game in a tough road matchup. I don't blame him for faltering in the Michigan game. He was really put on the spot going into the game after Sefo's injury and having the score be 31-28 Michigan. But over the summer, he did lead the CU starting offense in practice during Sefo's absence, so we know he has it in him. Good luck following Steven. Bring pride to our name.
Second up, the special teams need some restructuring. Last week, Diego Gonzalez shanked a field goal, Alex Kinney had a blocked punt, and another one went into a CU lineman. Michigan's Jabril Peppers returned a punt for a touchdown. Special teams needs to put last week behind them and patch up the holes before competing against a strong defense.
The third and final key would be that the defense has to stay focused. Oregon is notorious for running a fast-paced, up-tempo offense that leaves defenses tired and confused. During the Michigan game, our defense started to wear out midway through the third quarter, and Oregon's offense won't be any more forgiving. So we need to make sure that does not happen again. If the Buffs keep those 3 things in mind, I expect to see a great matchup against Oregon.
The CU football team typically does not enter the field until after the national anthem is played. But if they were out for the anthem, would they take a knee like a few of the NFL players have? The Buffs are a racially and politically diverse bunch, so BSN Denver caught up with redshirt junior Bryce Bobo on the subject. The wide receiver says simply that he supports the act of protest. He says, quote, What Colin Kaepernick did for the black community is trying to get people in the United States to understand what people of color are going through. Bobo believes that silent protests like taking a knee are a more effective way of bringing awareness to social injustices than violent actions. While he is not sure what the football team would decide to do if they were on the field for the national anthem, Bobo thinks it is an important topic to bring up with the guys.
So you all know that our next football game is being played in Eugene, Oregon, but there's another fun fact about the name Eugene that you probably don't know about. So here it is, our trivia question for the day. What CU Buff football player has the middle name Eugene? If you already know this one, you might be right on the line between superfan and creep, but if you don't know it, good luck with your Googling. Coming up after the break, CU Club Hockey is back in action and hit the road last weekend.
And the volleyball team shot even higher in the rankings. Don't go anywhere. Probably Allie.
These words are all around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere, it's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors.
To respect the rights of others and accept our differences. Contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah.
But I don't know where to start.
That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran? Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together.
Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
Past weekend, we saw the heartbreaking loss from the football team and some absolutely thrilling wins with the volleyball team. We sent Garrett McLean and Zach Tolpin out to campus to see how students rode the highs and the lows in this week's edition of Man on the Street.
Hey, this is Zach.
And this is Garrett.
And this is this week's segment of Man on the Street with CU Sports Mac.
Did you happen to catch the Michigan football game last week?
Nope.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did. I'm on the hockey team, but on the way back, I streamed on my phone, so.
Of course I did. I watched it with all my friends. Great game.
I did. I was at the game.
No, I did not.
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you happen to catch the score? Yeah, it's 45-28. Michigan beat us. It was hoarse. It was bad.
42-28?
Close, 45-28.
Nope.
No, I do not. But I know we lost.
28-45.
We were really close. I know that.
Do you know what happened with CU women's volleyball team recently?
Yeah, they're in a tournament, and they just they had a couple big wins. Played Chicago State. I'm informed, you know. Got to keep up.
They actually also beat CSU in the Omni Invitational tournament for the first time since 2002.
Well, I was aware there was a tournament, so better than nothing.
Nope. No.
No, but I know that they played against CSU the other weekend.
I was gonna go to the game, but I couldn't make it because we'd practice. But I did want to go, but I didn't hear anything like really noteworthy. Did something happen?
It just so happens that CU women's volleyball beat CSU 3-1 the first time since 2002. What do you think about that?
That's awesome because it really sucks to be a CSU Ram.
That's it for this week's segment of Man on the Street CU Sports Mag. I'm Garrett.
And I'm Zach.
Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. When the Saints went marching into Coors Event Center last weekend, they limped back to the Bayou in shame. The Buffs women's volleyball team swept their opponents for the third time in a row, this time against the University of New Orleans. Sophomore Nagedi Abu ranked up 6 blocks, while Alexis Smith, Gabby Simpson, and Justine Spann spiked a team high of 6 kills. The Buffs led 25-18, then 25-13, and stole a 10-1 advantage in the final set, leaving UNO in the dust at 25-12 to finish the game.
In the latest AVCA Division I coaches poll, Colorado Volleyball, which was ranked 18th in the previous 2 polls, moved up 2 positions to 16th. This is the highest ranking for the Buffs since 1998 for its third straight week in the rankings. Colorado is one of 6 Pac-12 conference teams ranked. They recorded 607 points this week. Colorado is now 5-0 at home this season, 8-2 overall. They will open the Pac-12 portion of the schedule on Wednesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. against Utah.
CU's number 16 ranked volleyball team suffered a loss last Wednesday against the University of Utah. This is the 3rd overall loss for CU volleyball and the first loss at home. It was a hard-fought 5-set match, and it put CU at 8-3 overall for their record and 5-1 for their record specifically at home. Utah now stands at 10-2. 3 of the last 4 matches between these 2 schools have gone to 5 sets. Buff Sierra Simpson surpassed CU alum Carrie Downey's record of being the all-time digs leader and looks to add a lot more with 19 conference matches remaining.
The number 8 ranked club hockey team began their season last weekend with a trip to the Midwest. The team played 3 games against Missouri State and Arkansas. In their season opener against Missouri State, the team dominated and won 9-2. Friday and Saturday, the last week, the team was in Arkansas playing the Razorbacks. They won both games 3-1 and 5-2. This week, the team opens up their home season with 2 contests against Rutgers. Thursday night, the team shut out the Ice Knights 7-0 to move to 4-0 on the year. The 2 face off again tonight at the CU Rec Center at 7:30 p.m. The Buffs have scored a total of 24 goals and have not allowed 5, so we can expect big things from the team this season.
The leaves are beginning to change colors, and you know what that means. The CU cross country team is hitting the trails. Both the men's and women's teams have brag-worthy track records, but that also means they have a reputation to uphold. Currently, the men are ranked in 5th, and the women are ranked 3rd in the USTFCCCA. This has been a drop by 1 position for the women, and the men are remaining constant in 5th for the 3rd straight week. They've got a break until October 1st, where they will host the 31st annual Rocky Mountain Shootout, and surely the training in this time off will raise both teams up in the polls. Now, unfortunately, we have to take another break. But when we come back, Nuria Ormeño Ruiz is tearing it up on the golf course once again.
And our very own Ben Wells is in the studio to take us on women's soccer retrospective. Stick around.
From this angle, it all makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up and
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're going to turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
Finally won. What's your reaction? Yeah! Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
Tadpoles, frogs, spiders, this is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Fans, let's jump right into the CU Athletes of the Week. Despite spraining his ankle in the third quarter against the Michigan Wolverines last weekend, starting quarterback Sefo Liufau scored 3 touchdowns while completing 16 out of 25 passing attempts. So far this season, Liufau surpassed the 8,000-yard mark in passing yards and made 76 straight passes without a single interception. He's ranked second best in the Pac-12. Over on the green, Esther Lee chipped in a new NCAA record for most strokes under par in a round with 11 under par on a par 61. Lee also won medalist honors at the branch law firm New Mexico International. Her win for a program best third time in her career is tied for the second largest margin of victory in CU history.
CU men's golf star Jeremy Paul is playing in the World Amateur Team Championship in Mexico. The tournament is being held at the Playa Paradoso golf course just outside of Cancun. On his first day, he shot an even par of 72 with 4 birdies, 10 pars, and 4 bogeys. Paul is representing his native country of Germany, and he had the best score among his 3 other teammates. Germany is tied for 38th place, while Scotland is atop the standings with a score of 134.
The women's golf team finished in third place on Tuesday in the 2016 Julie Inkster Spartan Invitational. The tournament was held in San Jose, California at the Almaden Golf and Country Club. The Buffs competed against 10 other collegiate teams. Sophomore Jillian Vance and freshman teammates Robin Choi and Christy Hodgkins registered top 15 finishes to lead Colorado to a 29 over par, 893 for the 54-hole tournament.
One of CU's most exciting players this season is Nuria Ormeño Ruiz of the women's tennis team. Ruiz has been a top 5 player on the Buffs roster since her freshman year, but last year she took over the number 1 spot and led the Buffs to their first ever road win in the Pac-12 championship against Oregon. Heading into this season, Ruiz is 16 single victories and 62.9 winning percentage, ranks 25th and 16th respectively all time for CU. Ruiz and the Buffs opened up their season yesterday in the CU Invitational, which will continue through Sunday.
A few weeks ago, CU soccer senior Danica Evans set up one of the most spectacular goals in recent school history. The goal even made highlight reels nationwide. CU News Team affiliate Hallie Jones caught up with Evans to find out the story behind the phenomenal play.
Recently, the women's soccer team got national attention when senior forward Danica Evans did her signature flip throw-in into teammate Taylor Cornick for the winning goal, making top 10 plays on SportsCenter at number 2.
I can't even remember when I first saw her do it. I don't know if it was in a practice or what it was. I'm like, God, we're going to use that for sure.
A throw-in is taken from the point where the ball crossed the touchline and went out of bounds. The traditional throw-in does not require much skill, but when you do a front handspring before you throw it in is another story.
The hardest thing is probably the condition of the field.
Evans, a Denver native, grew up playing competitive soccer alongside going to gymnastics school. Although she has not competed in gymnastics since high school, she is able to use those skills when the soccer team needs it the most.
Once we get in the final third where you're close to goal, it's really like a set piece. More dangerous than the corner kick because there's no offside on a throw-in.
Due to the mechanics of the flip throw-in, Danica's momentum is going forward, allowing the ball to go a lot farther. She can almost even throw the ball to the farthest goalpost, which is about 55 yards from the sideline where she threw it in at.
There aren't many teams that have someone who's capable of doing such an unusual throw-in, but for the Buffs, they continue to use it to their advantage.
We want to find our targets, so we'll always have a couple targets in there that'll either look to flick it on or if they can flick it in the goal, great, but really just kind of keep the ball alive.
So the next time you're looking for a sporting event, check out the CU women's soccer team and see the only flip throw-in in the state of Colorado. Hallie Jones, News Team Boulder.
soccer team finished the Colorado Cup with a perfect 3-zip record after defeating Denver University 1-0 on Saturday. With less than 60 seconds on the clock, Danica Evans scored in the final minute of the first overtime against DU, chalking up a 4th consecutive victory. The team's overall record is now 6-3 for the team. The Buffs will open Pac-12 play at 6 tonight, where they'll be taking on Washington State.
The CU women's soccer team will kick off their Pac-12 play at Washington State this Friday. This year is the 20th season of soccer for the CU Buffs, and the current program record is 199 wins, 176 losses, and 43 ties. So if they're victorious on Friday, this game could mark the 200th win in CU soccer history. This is the Buffs' 10th game this season, 6 wins and 3 losses so far. So tune into the Pac-12 Network Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for the exciting and potentially historic game.
The CU women's soccer team is doing well this season. They've currently won 6 of 9 games this season. In honor of their stellar start, Ben Wells is in the studio to take us through some of the finer moments of the team's history in this week's edition of Buff Banter.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Ben Wells here to give you this week's Buff Banter. A few weeks ago, Christy started you off on CUBuffs.com's top 20 moments in the soccer team's history, and I'm going to get you all caught up. Starting with moment number 16 on October 1st, 2004, the Buffs had their first ever game at Prentup Field, beating Northern Colorado 3-0. It was the first ever Division I soccer game on CU's campus. The Buffs kept the ball rolling, winning the first 5 games ever played at Prentup. For moment 15, although the Buffs had much success in their first decade, they hadn't been a top 10 team until September 24th, 2010, when they edged number 5 ranked Texas A&M in a 2-1 overtime win in Texas. The winning goal was scored by freshman Lizzie Herzl in the 99th minute. This remains the highest ranked team CU has ever beaten. Moment number 14 is a large one for our Buffs, as it marks CU's first ever win against a ranked Pac-12 opponent. After moving from the Big 12 to the Pac-12 in 2011, the Buffs had a steep hill to climb, but after 3 years, CU beat the 23rd ranked USC Trojans 1-0 in overtime. The victory came on October 3rd, 2014. The Buffs went on to finish 6-4-1 in the Pac-12 that season. Similarly, moment 13 is the Buffs' first ever Pac-12 victory since they transferred conferences. It came on October 21st, 2011, only a few months after the Buffs entered the Pac-12. CU defeated California 1-0, the lone goal coming from sophomore Haley Hughes in the 62nd minute. Junior goalkeeper Kayla Miller made 6 saves to secure the shutout. Finally, moment number 12 is the Buffs' first ever game as a varsity team. The match against Cal State Bakersfield came 3 years after it was announced that the Buffs would become a varsity team back in 1993. On October 31st, 1996, the Buffs faced off against Cal State, finishing in a 1-1 tie. The goal came from freshman Sean Kenyon in the 77th minute. Although the Buffs didn't finish above 500 that season, it was the start of a great program still going strong today. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. I'll toss it back to the desk. For now, this has been Ben Wells.
Thanks, Ben. We're going to take one more short break, but stick around because the women's lacrosse team has 8 new players, and we have their names.
And Bobby Galen is, really cranking up the temperature in the studio.
That is not what it looks like, but we got rapid fire coming up next.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit americansforthearts.org.
And what'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone. Mom, I'm on the phone! Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right. Sorry.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
CU basketball is ready for a comeback? Just ask the team. The Buffs are ready to spring into action this year with a more seasoned roster. Although the Buffs lost Josh Scott, the team's top scorer, George King and Josh Fortune are hot on his heels, and the rest of the team is looking for some serious payback. CU junior Torrey Miller doubled his points and rebounds between his freshman and sophomore year and is expected to produce an even higher average now that he's bulked up and toned up even more.
The women of the CU lacrosse team have added 8 members to their pack. 2 of them are coming from Colorado high schools, Dominique Shells from Valor Christian and Holly Sutherland from Cherry Creek High. Most of these fresh players have extensive and impressive track records. This includes Anna Colon, who was a 5-year letter winner and 3-time All-State performer back in her hometown of Raleigh, North Carolina. Good luck to these new Lax Buffs. Can't wait to see what the talent they bring.
Oh man, it's getting really, really hot in here, like really hot. What's going on? I think it must mean that it's time for the fastest segment in the Rockies. We have another edition of Rapid Fire. Bobby, take it away.
Hey Buff fans, my name is Bobby Galen. I'm here to give you another heated edition of Rapid Fire. Starting off, CU men's football looks to bounce back from a tough loss in Ann Arbor last weekend. The Buffs will clash with the Oregon Ducks at Autzen Stadium on Saturday at 3:30. Sefo Lufau is hoping for a quick recovery after re-injuring his ankle in the second quarter against the Michigan Wolverines. Up next, women's volleyball is looking to recover from a devastating loss against rival Utah, where they played 5 sets, losing 3 sets to 2. Their next game is against University of Arizona at 1:00 p.m. on Sunday. Playing today, CU women's soccer continues conference play as they face off against Washington State in a Pac-12 duel at 6 p.m. Finally, apart from their one teammate that's playing in Mexico, the men's golf tees off in an intercollegiate tournament in Albuquerque Friday and Saturday. This has been another flaming hot edition of Rapid Fire. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's all you.
Thanks, Bobby. Now switching back to that trivia question. Did you find the answer? Are you now walking that line between superfan and creep with those who already knew the answer? Well, if you aren't yet, you are about to be, because the answer is junior wide receiver Devin Ross. Devin Eugene Ross, that is. He started the season off right with 97 yards and a touchdown against CSU. In the Buffs game against Michigan, he did something no other Buff has done in almost 40 years, and that is catching 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter. Way to go, Devin Eugene Ross.
This tweet of the week is from Chip the Buffalo. Chip is known for his crazy tweets, and this week he decided to troll the Michigan fans during the game on Saturday, saying, "Michigan fans keep yelling, 'Go Blue.' Blue is a color, it can't go anywhere." This wasn't Chip's only tweet of the night, and he is a troll of the highest caliber, making comments on the team and Coach Harbaugh. But his diss to the fans might be his best so far this season. But it's still early. There will be many more trolls to come from the CU mascot.
Oh no, Steve, I think that's all the time we have for today. I can't believe it went by so fast. Thanks for helping me out on my first time.
Of course, Christine, you did great. Honestly, it's the best I've ever seen. I'm sad Sports Mag is over soon, but we got more shows coming. I'm Steve Nelson. That's Christine Lambert. This is CU Sports Mag. We'll see you next week.